This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network.
And welcome everybody to episode 25 of the Animanicast.
May I introduce my assistants? Dr. Wacko and number one sister. We'll investigate, collaborate, red herrings, we'll eliminate, we'll solve this mystery for you. Although we haven't got a clue.
Welcome once again to the Animanicast. We are a podcast that is dedicated to the animated television series, The Animaniacs. And each and every week we discuss a new episode in the order in which it was first released. And we discuss all the cultural references, all the gags, and all the jokes, and all the various things that make us think of other things. And in the end, we give each and every episode a Water Tower rating. I am Joey, and joining me once again is my brother Nathan.
I like turtles.
And across the country in Georgia, it is Kelly.
Hello.
Okay, well, folks, we have a pretty good episode right here for our quarter way through of the run of Animaniacs.
Mm-hmm.
Already. Can you believe it?
25% done?
25% of the way through Animaniacs. Amazing. So we have Disasterpiece Theater as our cold opening. We have Hercule Yakko. We have Home on De-Nile. And then finally a Midsummer Night's Dream kind of a wrap-up segment right there. I don't know, guys, what do you think? Kelly, in a few words, what could you say about this episode?
I liked it okay. I thought it was clever, and I really liked the Hercule Yakko because it brought in a lot of, I guess, almost all the characters in the series so far. It was kind of really a who's who of all the characters that we've seen, and I just thought overall it was a good episode.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that way. That really did incorporate almost all the characters.
Yeah, it was a good crossover episode.
And Nathan, what about you?
I enjoyed it. I thought there was kind of a literature-rich, almost kind of Cleopatra's and Jane Austen's and Shakespearean kind of.
Not Jane Austen. It would be
what's her
Agatha
name?
Christie.
Agatha Christie.
Yeah,
one of
they
those
write
novelists.
very different stories.
One of those novelists. I never read any of them, but
Aww.
I didn't need to because I saw the Animaniacs.
There you go. Well, let's go ahead and start off with this very urbane, because of course the intro was How Urbane.
How urbane.
And we had a very urbane cold opening right here with Disasterpiece Theater.
Good evening, I'm Yakko Warner, and I welcome you to Disasterpiece Theater.
Yakko is introducing kind of the whole disaster, which is the Animaniacs, and a lot of horrible things go wrong. Number one is Godzilla rips off the building like roof and makes a good Godzilla scream, and he's smoking a pipe with bubbles and stuff like that. A cute little thing. Kelly, do you remember seeing the classic Masterpiece Theater, which this was parodying, which I guess was on PBS and stuff? Did you ever watch any of those?
I remembered Cookie Monster being Alistair Cookie.
Yes.
And doing a parody of Masterpiece Theater, but I always thought Masterpiece Theater was something that only old people watched.
Yes. I
probably
tried.
My granny watched it, but then I realized cool stuff like Downton Abbey and Mr. Selfridge come on Masterpiece Theater, so
Yes.
I shouldn't have been so judgy.
Good evening, and welcome to Monsterpiece Theater. Me, your host, Alistair Cookie. Tonight, Monsterpiece Theater proud to present classic play, The Taming of the Shoe, by William Shakespeare, famous podiatrist. Trust me. And now, The Taming of the Shoe. Oh, shoo, shoo, wherefore art thou, shoo? Oh, there you are. Methinks I will put you on and walk to the Padua Mall.
Unhand me, Grovero.
What a shoe you are!
Some of the best written Sesame Street segments are those Monster Piece theaters because they're referencing pieces of literature that, gosh, kids obviously would have no knowledge of, but they're basically speaking right to the parents and even more importantly, like the PBS donors. Wish I could show those. I think they used to show some of those Monster Piece the theater segments of Sesame Street in the pledge drives to show you, like, see, culture. This is what kids see. The one I was familiar with of parroting Masterpiece Theater wasn't just Monster Piece Theater, but actually Mousterpiece Theater, which was on the old Disney Channel in the 1980s and stuff. That I liked quite a bit. That was
my mom wouldn't pay for Disney Channel in the 80s, so I didn't have it then.
Here we are again at Mousterpiece Theatre. We scholars and administrators here at Mousterpiece Theatre have often discussed among ourselves the amazing breadth of character of Donald Duck. A split personality is a familiar, if glib way of discussing certain troubled cases. In the case of the Duck, the personality is not so much split as shredded. We have a vivid demonstration of the war within the Duck's psyche in the upcoming therapeutic study. Duck here takes on the unfamiliar role of a schoolboy and is stopped on the way to school by one of his other selves. The only way to get rid of temptation is to yield to it, says our mentor Oscar Wilde, and soon enough, the Duck is off fishing. But the Duck's evil self is soon engaged in a war to the death within the Duck's tormented soul with his better self. The battle of the century, if you know the Duck. Now, some might even say the fight was fixed. A lot of late money wagered in Las Vegas on the outcome. So we will leave it to our viewers to determine whether, in fact, one of the selves took a dive. It looks pretty fishy to me. So stay your hand from the dial. I will turn you over to the Duck in Donald's better self.
I think I owe some of my appreciation of animation to that show because I got this deeper understanding of like what Goofy is like as a symbol for humans and just a more of appreciation of the animation style itself. So it was a really kind of a cool segment, cool thing right there. So anyway, Disaster Piece Theater, nice little quick segment right there. But
yeah, it was a much better opener than Newsreel the Stars.
Yes. Now, Nathan, before we go any further, I got to ask you, when was this episode first premiered?
Well, Joey, I'm surprised you don't remember it, because it was the day after the highest scoring World Series game between the Blue Jays and the Phillies. It was 15-14. So it was Thursday, October 21st, 1993.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, the Blue Jays-Phillies game. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember when the Blue Jays won.
Yeah.
By one
run.
One scoring run.
And that whole game was like 4 hours and 14 minutes
long. Yeah, it was a
long
one.
Yeah.
We remember it pretty well. So.
Yeah, now that you mention
Big sports fans here.
I'm sorry, I can't keep a straight face when you say that. Okay, so, yes, big sports fans. Let's get into our first segment, Hercule Yakko. Hercule Yakko was written by Peter Hastings and directed by Rusty Mills and Dave Marshall. And Kelly, what could you tell us what happens in this segment, this cartoon?
Well, Flavio and Marita are, the hippos. And Marita has lost her diamond. She has been robbed, which she says several times, and I just think that's hysterical. And she's been robbed, and she needs her diamonds.
That's when I realized that I had been robbed.
And which one are you, Rob or Ed?
And so Yakko comes in, and he has a little monocle, and he's Hercule Yakko, which is a parody of Hercule Poirot.
I believe that's how I pronounce it, yeah.
I've never been able to pronounce that word. And based on the mystery novels, and I think there was a Masterpiece Theater series based on that. So that's probably why they led with that. But he's on the case, and so he brings in the Warner siblings to try to find where the diamond is. And it's a cast of characters. It's like Chicken Boo shows up, and so many characters from other series. And they run into Pinky and the Brain, who are just hikers, Swiss hikers on holiday. And, very nondescript, not suspicious at all.
Did you steal a big diamond?
No, we are Swiss hikers on holiday.
Look at me, Brain! I'm Heidi! Yodelite enough!
So they keep trying to figure out where the diamond is, and ultimately they find out that Marita had been sitting on it.
Yes.
But not until they turn the room upside down. Literally.
Yep.
And they got to the bottom of the case, which I think is a cute little gag.
I told you I'd get to the bottom of this.
Well, before we go to our favorite moments, let's just go over kind of a listing of some of the cultural references in here, because there are quite a few.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And as I do, just feel free to interrupt me, guys, about what you liked about those things, et cetera, et cetera. So, first of all, we have the segment takes place on a boat. And this is very similar to the Agatha Christie 1937 mystery Death on the Nile, featuring Hercule Poirot. We have a detective that comes in. It's Peter Falk kind of character, like Columbo, basically, right there. You go, I just have one more question.
You are in luck, Mademoiselle Adam, for on board this very ship is the greatest detective of all time.
You mean...
Just one more question.
There's one thing I really found from seeing Maurice LaMarche on at Phoenix Comic-Con was that he really likes doing his Peter Falk impression. and he has, if you ever see Maurice LaMarche do his Peter Falk impression, he not only does a very good voice, but his facial expression changes as well. Peter Falk had, I believe, he had like a glass eye, so he kind of every now and then had this kind of like awkward kind of stare and kind of crooked kind of look to him every now and then. And Maurice LaMarche is able to keep one eye looking one way and another eye looking the other way when he says it. It's really funny. So we have a Peter Falk reference, Columbo. I never watched Columbo. I don't know about you, Kelly, but I remember Peter Falk #1 with Princess Bride, of course.
Yes, yes. I never watched Columbo, but I do remember like seeing commercials for it and things.
Yeah, as you wish. Anyway, and then of course we have the Yakko is of course Hercule Poirot, but then he also has his brother and sister Dot and Wakko with him. Dot is #1 sister, which is a parody or at least a takeoff of. The detective Charlie Chan would have #1 son. Charlie Chan was like kind of it's totally not politically correct at all. Chinese, I believe, detective.
Yeah, Chinese American. Or
doing
something.
he would solve a case, and he would have his son as his kind of Dr. Watson kind of character.
Then using the sacrificial knife was to throw everyone off the track, right, Pop?
Yes. Others beside native have motive.
All we have to do then is to find out where the knife came from. Why, this is the simplest case I ever worked on.
You know, Captain Gonzalez, as detective, #1 son, a very excellent airplane pilot. Finding where sacrificial knife came from, anything but simple.
And Wakko was Dr. Wakko, so of course that is Dr. Watson from Sherlock Holmes right there. So it reminded me, actually, the only detective movie that I really paid much attention to growing up was a movie called Murder by Death, which had Peter Falk in it, and it had and he was playing kind of a Sam Spade-ish kind of character from very similar to Casablanca, or I'm not Sam Spade from Casablanca, Sam Spade from the Maltese Falcon. they would have various other characters who are kind of takeoffs of Agatha Christie characters, including Charlie Chan and stuff like that. And Sir Alec Guinness is in that movie. You remember seeing this at all, Nathan?
No, it doesn't sound familiar at all.
Murder by Death. It was on Netflix, but who knows what it is right now.
I mean, is there any other kind of murder?
It's true. It's a comedy. It's a comedy, ladies and gentlemen.
Neil Simon's Murder by Death. Meanwhile, a short, sinister man who looks exactly like Truman Capote is preparing a diabolical weekend for the greatest detectives in the world. Sidney Wang.
Don't I think, Pop? Perfect place for a murder. Conversation like a television set on honeymoon. Unnecessary.
As we join them, our 5 clue persons and their faithful companions are trapped in a mysterious old mansion where a fiendishly ingenious crime is about to take place.
The victim is here at this very table at this very moment. And so too, ladies and gentlemen, is the murderer.
It's the most stupid theory I ever heard.
One of us is a mad killer, not to be trusted.
I hope he knows how to stop that thing.
Gunshots, monsieur. Gunshots, Pop.
Gunshots, Sam. Gunshots, Dickie.
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
I like it, but do not understand it.
That can only mean one thing. And I don't know what it is.
It means, are these 5 monumental minds any match for Murder by Death?
Check it out. Murder by Death, if you are so inclined. So anyway, the background music, there's some background music of Yankee Doodle that plays. They go into the stateroom, which I think was kind of funny, that there was a United States of America map on the door. Slappy is in this. She talks about Wally Gator.
Have you seen anything strange?
I saw Wally Gator slam dance with a Smurf. That's strange enough for you?
Didn't watch much of Wally Gator when I was a kid. I think at this time, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I'm pretty sure Hanna-Barbera, which was bought out by Warner Brothers. So that's perhaps why they are able to have Slappy continually reference Hanna-Barbera characters. Minerva Mink makes her first appearance in this one.
Yeah.
Kelly had mentioned Pinky and the Brain, and Pinky says he's Heidi, which is, hey, another book reference. Why not? And usually with Animaniacs, we're talking about the Marx Brothers references, and they're not explicit, right? Yeah. They're kind of like, well, if you knew it, then you know this is a takeoff of
like a wink, wink, nod.
Which this time they said, oh, I get it. It's a Night at the Opera gag when everyone falls out, and they even have kind of a Groucho Marx-ish kind of character in it. So that was cool, right there.
I see. It's that Night at the Opera bit, funny bit.
So those are references right there. Kind of, just a stream of them. Guys, what do you think? What are some of your favorite moments? Wait.
Number 1 sister, dust for Prince.
I forgot one reference. When you check out Animaniacs references, when it talks about the things that we saw when we were little kids that we totally didn't see, we didn't recognize, there's the fingerprints line. Now, without getting too much into what that meaning is, because I'm sure we have some kids listening, did this go over your head as a kid? Did you even realize that this was what they were talking about? Kelly, I'll start with you because you're older. Did you have any idea that they were talking about that?
I can't remember, honestly, like when I first saw the episode, if I knew remotely what it was referring to or not. I just can't remember what my level of knowledge of was at that age. Because I don't know. It probably wasn't something that I immediately was like, oh yeah, I get what they're saying.
Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff, not that it was terribly mature humor or anything, but a lot of the stuff that the references and things were just aimed towards older people.
Yeah.
And I just didn't get until later, or until some of it was even pointed out to me online and things like that.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, because the main joke is, no like she shows prints, and like most kids would know who Prince is, and no fingerprints.
I found prints! No, fingerprints. I don't think so.
It's that line that Dot has of "I don't think so," that, and the smile that Prince gives her.
Yeah.
Which is particularly disturbing. But yes, it's on every reference guide.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, Nathan, when I first saw the reference guide and I saw that on something a few years ago, I thought to myself, well, that can't be right.
Yeah,
like they wouldn't have said,
exaggerating.
they wouldn't have said that, but somehow they got that past the censors at that time. And I think I've heard it talked about by some of the voice actors that they don't really know how that got past the censors either.
Because they're just fingerprints,
Yeah,
you know?
I don't get it.
And then, or maybe you put Prince in a lineup and you finger him, right?
Oh yeah, you're like pointing at him.
Yeah, that's what
you have to make sure you're
you put someone in a lineup of suspects,
right?
Yeah,
sure. Anyway,
yeah.
So there we go. That's perhaps the most infamous reference right there. There, everybody, we got that out of the way. Yay! So let's go ahead and move on to what your favorite moments were of this cartoon. Nathan, let's start with you. What are some of your moments you really liked?
I really liked when they got the dogs out and like smell this, and they're gonna trace down that smell. So they run out around the whole boat, and then they come right back, and then they go right back to the handkerchief that they were tracking down. Basically tracking down that handkerchief. They did it.
Yep, exactly. They found it. And Kelly, what about you?
Well, I already mentioned it, but I really like the Pinky and the Brain cameo.
I also am innocent.
I may have done it. I walk in my sleep, you know.
I was surprised to see Minerva Mink in this one.
Mm-hmm.
This was her first introduction, and I thought it was kind of cute that what did she like? The diamond. That's what she goes crazy over.
Oh,
yeah. And then Dot's the strong one. And
yes.
Until she sees the strong man or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of cute. I'm not the hugest fan of Minerva Mink, partly I think just because of what internet culture has done to that character, the horrible things. So I don't know, but I was watching the episode with my wife, and she goes, "Who's that character?" And I said, "That's Minerva Mink." And she goes, "I like her." So I don't know. To me, I've never been a huge fan of Minerva, but I know there's obviously a big fan base for her. Yeah. Anyway,
there is.
There is. Don't look up Google images of Minerva Mink. Whatever you do, don't do it, Kelly. Don't do it.
Boys, no control.
I really like this one. Even it's really pretty darn zany. I mean, even like Yakko, like taking all the clues and just sucking up everything from the entire room and putting it in the bag. And really, I don't know. I can't really think of one particular moment for me, because almost every moment in this cartoon was a good moment.
Yeah, it was very, like, I liked how quick Yakko was. He was very kind of Marxish, in his quick responses.
Groucho Marx, yeah.
Quick, give me all your goods and jewelry.
Yes, that seems like a Groucho Marx kind of line.
Quick, everyone, give me your wallets, your money, your valuables.
Do you think it's the thief?
No, I think it's the pizza.
And of course, that's Chicken Boo.
Yes. So. A good cartoon.
Yeah,
I liked it a lot. All right, well, let's move on to our second cartoon of this episode, which is Home on De-Nile. Home on De-Nile was written by Stephen Hibbert and directed by Rusty Mills. Nathan, what can you tell us about this Rita and Runt cartoon?
Well, we get a little theme song right before Rita and Runt come out.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're in the Egyptian desert, basically, and they are looking for a new home. They feel like they found Sonny and Cher's place, basically.
Well, Sonny
Sonny's-
Bono's.
Yeah, Sonny Bono's house. Turns out to be Cleopatra's place. They end up worshipping the Rita, thank you. Sorry. They end up worshipping Rita, and Runt has to just make pyramids, or not even a pyramid, but it turns out that they're gonna end up killing Rita by throwing her into a fire, basically sacrificing her.
Yes.
But Runt saves her at the last second, and they run away home safe.
I think that this is actually kind of true, that they actually did sacrifice cats. The Egyptians did. I'm pretty sure they did. Like I seem to remember, and again, this is a few years ago when I taught 6th grade social studies at my school. We have to watch all these different videos. They found like a mummified cat area where you could actually go. You could sacrifice to the. Oh, Kelly, do you know the cat god? It wasn't Anubis, was it? I want to say Anubis.
Well, I'm just now Googling. So apparently, the Egyptians did offer cats as sacrifices to the goddess Bastet.
Ah, there we go. Anubis is the
to Google.
Yes. Okay. Anubis is like the dog guy, I think, or something.
Or Bast. It's spelled it's differently in a couple different places, but Bast or Bastet. It was a goddess with the body of a woman and a head of a cat.
Oh, there we go. Let's talk about this intro segment right here.
Like Abbott and Costello, like Sonny and Cher, like Martin and Lewis, they're a perfect pair. Like Laurel and Harvey, like Fontaine and Lunt, they're perfectly mismatched, they're Rita and Runt.
In the intro song, which I really liked, it had a good beat to it.
Mm-hmm.
We have Abbott and Costello doing the who's on first, what's on second kind of thing. Sonny and Cher, well, they're looking for Sonny Bono's house. In this cartoon. Of course, he was, I believe, at one point the mayor of Palm Springs, California. Nathan, we've been to Palm Springs once or twice. I think
I didn't see Sonny there.
Did not see Sonny at the time. I don't know if have you ever been to Palm Springs, Kelly? In California? No. It definitely is a desert place. I don't understand why people would want to live there. It's like a lot of rich people live there, and it's not any place. It's like you're in the middle of the hot desert. I don't know why you would want to live there. Anyway, so that's Palm Springs. Martin and Lewis, which of course was Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. And then we have Laurel and Hardy. Laurel and Hardy, one of their classic shorts is The Music Box, where they're trying to carry up a piano up this flight of stairs that goes on forever to a house, and it continually falls down multiple times. It's one of their best shorts. I love that. So if you have a moment, everybody watch Laurel and Hardy, The Music Box, for some good Laurel and Hardy stuff. But then they end with Fontaine and Lunt. Kelly, did you have any idea who Fontaine and Lunt were? Or are?
No.
I had to look them up because I had no idea. Fontaine and Lunt were a husband and wife pair from the 1930s, and they were more of a pair that you would see on stage, like on Broadway and the live theater. And they did make one movie called The Guardsman that I saw the trailer for, which is like a husband thinks that his wife is cheating on him, so he dresses up like someone else to see if she would cheat on, him with this other person.
With himself.
It's this whole, it's a comedy, kind of romantic comedy kind of thing. But yeah, Fontaine and Lunt, I had no idea who they were, but yes, they were a husband and wife pair back in the 1930s. So there you go. I just thought that was interesting that they had to put them in. But what else rhymes with runt if you're going to?
That's true.
Well, this cartoon really focuses on, number one references is the movie Cleopatra with Elizabeth Taylor. Nathan, Kelly, have either one of you seen that movie?
No.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the whole thing, but I've seen clips from it.
I myself watched. I have not seen the whole 3-hour plus movie, I think it is. which is like one of those Turner Classic movies that would be like, gosh, they would just talk about. I've seen some making ofs, I think, of at least how they made that movie and how many extras they had to get to make it, fill up the camera lens with all these, these widescreen vistas of Egyptians. But I've never seen it. But the two characters we have, Cleopatra and Mark Antony, and the voice actors are doing. I guess Tress MacNeille is kind of doing Elizabeth Taylor's voice right there. But there's a caricature of Richard Burton who has that kind of, I don't know, I can't even do that voice, but it's
just insert it
here. Boom.
My flower of the desert, my reason for continuing to breathe. There is not a single pussycat in all of Egypt that you like. What can I do?
That's what he sounds like in the cartoon, and this is what he sounds like in the movie.
Almost 3 years. Is it possible that you become even more beautiful?
Almost 3? At long? Time has passed so quickly.
Your necklace seems to be made of gold coins. Coins of Caesar.
Do you find it attractive?
Very.
And I find what you're wearing most becoming. Greek, isn't it?
I have a fondness for almost all Greek things.
As an almost all Greek thing, I'm flattered.
My favorite line is probably that from Mark Antony is telling everybody that he's going to spank them. Mm-hmm. They all run away.
Mark Antony, do something!
I should spank you all!
There's a Tiny Toons cameo in here. Mm-hmm. We have Furball that came in.
How about this one, my darling Cleopatra?
What a cluck you are! That's the worst cat of all!
I remember watching that. My wife was watching it with me going, who's that?
Oh, it's the worst of them all. It's the worst one yet.
And this was kind of obscure. In the cartoon, she says,
Sing me a little songy. Sing!
Who's afraid of Cleopatra, Cleopatra, Cleopatra? Who's afraid of Cleopatra, tra-la-la-la-la-la?
Everybody! Ha, ha, ha!
Now, here's where it gets meta. Is that that is kind of a takeoff of Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf? Mm-hmm. But these two actors, Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, were in the movie Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, which was a takeoff of Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf. Huh. So it all cycles back to itself. Kind of cool, huh? And I guess the one reference that we talked about before recording, Kelly, was Wayne's World, which was, of course, We're Not Worthy when they get in front of Rita, which is kind of cool. I don't know, guys. What did you think of this episode, this cartoon?
It was fun. I liked Runt. Actually, is very helpful in this episode, I thought.
Yeah, he actually saw a problem. He actually figured out the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Before Rita did, and
yeah, for once, I know before.
Although the violin one, he didn't really. Neither one of them figured it out.
No, they just got out of there.
But Runt did save the day in that one too. He just didn't know that he did.
Yeah, exactly. So it was nice to see Runt actually looking at the pretty. He likes the pretty pictures. Or whatever he says. He looks at the pictures. That was cool. That was cool to see him kind of figure stuff out. Kelly, what about you?
I just thought it was really neat. I've always been interested in ancient Egypt, so I like the imagery of the hieroglyphics and the depiction of Cleopatra and the fact that she did kind of look like Elizabeth Taylor a little bit. Mm-hmm. Kind of got that reference, and I just thought it was fun. It was, very different because, I guess it was a little bit like the violin one because they're sort of in a different time period, and not modern day. But I thought it was a good setting for the story, and I like you, I like the fact that Runt sort of put two and two together. It's like, oh no, this isn't cool.
Yeah. I thought it was okay. Nathan and I have a theory, and I think it might apply to this cartoon. In this cartoon, they're in ancient Egypt, but yet they're talking about wanting to go see Sonny Bono, who's was a modern day reference right here. I've kind of had this fun fan theory with Nathan that the Warners are not, they're not puppies or dogs or cats or anything like that. They're actually Time Lords.
Oh.
And the Warner Tower is a TARDIS.
Oh.
And because it's bigger on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, personally, that Rita and Runt got into the water tower, were transported back to ancient time in Egypt, got out, and thought they were in Palm Springs.
It makes sense, because, they were saying, welcome to Palm Springs. Like, are you sure? Of course it's Palm Springs. And if my calculations are correct, so it's what are you talking...
Yeah.
There must have been some sort of... There has to be some sort of time machine or something going on.
There was some sort of time machine that happened right before they came, because, yes, they're very confused in this one.
No, I like the idea of the water tower being a TARDIS, and I think this is one of those fan theories that should go viral, and people should embrace it and give you complete and total credit for it.
Yay!
So...
You heard it here first.
No, I think that's really cool.
Let's do this.
What does TARDIS stand for? It's like time and relative dimension in space.
Yeah, in space. Yes.
There you go. Very cool. Well, I know we have some Doctor Who fans that listen to this, so I hope they appreciate that. I always like Runt when he's acting just like a stupid dog. Like he's having so much fun putting the pyramid together, and he's just running up and he's hurting people, but he doesn't know any better. He's just a dumb old dog, and he's doing his thing. The animation was really good in this.
Yeah.
I almost think that, the animation in this is almost feature film quality. I really like the animation a lot in this cartoon.
Yeah, the humans looked really good.
Oh yeah. And then, of course, Rita has a nice song in this one, too, where she's singing, and like kind of a jazzy... Was that jazzy kind of tune? I don't know what kind of it was on a nightclubish kind of thing going on, I guess.
Oh, you kid, you got it made 'neath the Great Pyramid. Gotta say I like this lifestyle. Talking about my home on the muddy Nile. Call me greedy, but give me more, treat me like Queen Nefertiti. Build me a palace fit for Ramses too. I bet you'd rather be me than you.
You can tell that she feels good. She feels like look at me, I'm so hot. I'm so, worship me, everybody. And she kind of, I want to say it's kind of weird saying this because she's a cat, but kind of acting a little bit seductive. You know what I mean? Like she's kind of slinking around like in the Nefertiti hat or something like that to kind of like be kind of like it's a robe or something around her body and kind of wiggling around. I'm not saying that to be weird. I'm just saying that that's the way that she's moving and kind of smiling and winking at the camera. And hey, it wasn't just me. I was watching this with my wife, and then she said, "What's going on with her?" right there. So it wasn't just me.
Okay. All right.
But great Bernadette Peters. I mean, I think this is one of the better Rita songs. I think it's I think so far in each Rita episode, the quality of the songs has been increasing, and this is definitely one of the better ones. So, what do you guys think? Any other moments? Any other things that stand up for Rita and Runt right here?
No.
No? All right.
No.
Well, let's go ahead and go to our last segment, which is A Midsummer Night's Dream with a special guest.
Oh, boy.
Okay, well, for our last segment right here, we have a very special guest.
Ooh.
Who is it, Nathan?
Well, I know her personally.
Oh.
Personally know her as my wife. My wife.
My wife.
That's her personal name, so I think anyone could call her that.
Well, we could also call her Jordan, right?
Jordan, that's right.
So Jordan is here.
Esteemed actress.
Yes, and Jordan has been has performed many Shakespearean plays, correct?
Yeah, I'd say a solid 10 by now, I think.
Oh, and you have actually been in A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Twice.
There you go.
Yeah, I've performed it twice as Hippolyta and Titania.
Very cool.
I know. Yeah, there were excellent roles. And in fact, if I had done it in Shakespeare's day, I just would have performed both of them, for the entirety of the show. Whoever would have played Hippolyta would have also played Titania.
Oh, they just double book people like that?
Yeah. But for the sake of, casting more people for a school show,
yeah,
you gotta put the kiddos in there and divide up roles.
Well, so the last segment right here, we had Dot translating for Yakko, this segment here from A Midsummer Night's Dream. And it's the last speech. This is like the last words of Midsummer, right?
Yes, it is the last words of the show. And it's kind of when the person that plays Puck kind of breaks character a little and kind of sheds that of themselves and is speaking directly to the audience.
Okay. Well, very cool. So we're seeing this right here. Now, let's go over the lines and just in general, does Dot do a pretty good job? I mean,
yeah, actually, I was really impressed just the way that she was able to relate the words from the Elizabethan language to the layman, to younger people and, to people who aren't familiar with Shakespeare. So yeah, she kind of derails it after a little bit, just to make it silly, which is okay.
So Batman and Robin are not in the Shakespeare.
I don't think Shakespeare knew about Batman and Robin yet.
Darn.
But hey, he at least had Robin going for him. But yeah, she starts off with, if we shadows have offended, think but this and all is mended. Puck can be played by a boy or a girl. I've seen it done both ways. So, so I might interchange the pronouns here. Okay. I apologize. But yeah, if we shadows have offended, think but this and all is mended. It just means if we players, actors, have offended you, just think about what I'm about to say and all will be well.
Okay.
And then goes on to say that you have but slumbered here while these visions did appear, that this was just all a dream. So don't sweat it. And goes on to say...
So it's not so the whole thing of like Dot saying you just slept here on your butt, like
yeah, exactly. Yeah, she kind of calls it just like, hey, you fell asleep, you had a weird dream about fairies and changeling boys and love potions. Like, that's all,
And you could definitely say that about some episodes of the Animaniacs, too, because they are pretty crazy in certain ones. So, yeah.
Definitely abstract, yeah, where you're just going all over the place. And let's see here. So this weak and idle theme, no more yielding but a dream. So again, just saying, like, it was silly. She says, I think Dot says to that there was a plot that you could drive a truck through.
Uh-huh.
And I think there's several theories about what that could be about. It could either be the fact that, like, Demetrius is probably still under the love spell while he's still in love with Helena at the end of the show.
Uh-huh.
Or the fact that Aegeus, Hermia's father, proclaimed at the beginning that she would have to die unless she married Lysander, unless she married Demetrius, forgive me. And at the end, he just kind of, gives up. I mean, he does not fight the Duke on that at all.
Yep.
Or it could also be the fact that Oberon, the king of the fairies, tells Puck that's like, yeah, this changeling boy that I've been fighting Titania for this whole time and basically why this whole plot exists. Yeah, she just gave it to me while she was, getting it on with a donkey. Like, no harm, no foul. And it just made no sense because that was, their huge fight and the reason, like, why he was scheming.
Okay, so there really was, like, so she really is referring to plot holes then, right?
Yeah,
okay,
for
cool.
sure.
Okay.
So, I mean, I thought it was actually quite astute of Dot to call that out.
Cool.
Because they could have easily just, let that lie. And then it goes on to say, let's see, gentles do not reprehend, as in audience, don't get angry, don't be upset with me, and if you pardon, we will mend. If you forgive us, we'll definitely make it up to you, as I am an honest Puck. And I think Dot says something like, I'm not even going to touch that.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I didn't actually get that because honest, I mean virtuous, and I guess honest in Elizabethan language could sometimes mean virginal. But
I think, if I may be so bold, I think it's with the word Puck itself. I think that's at least how I always interpreted it. It's just, I'm not even going to touch that one, like the word Puck itself. That was just my guess, but
maybe.
I don't know.
Let's see. If we have unearned luck now to escape the serpent's tongue, we will make amends ere long. So if serpent, the hissing from crowds like boos and whatnot, and we will make amends ere long. So again, it's just saying like, if we didn't earn your applause or, please don't boo us or hiss at us, because hold on, like we'll make it up to you later. Cause it was a Shakespeare company. So they were always constantly doing shows. So I'm sure they're saying like, if you thought this show sucked, don't worry. Our next show will just, we'll just blow you away. Let's see. Else the puck a liar calls. So good night unto you all. So yeah, just, you could call me a liar, if we don't make it up to you, but he's saying like, I'm honest, don't worry. And give me your hands as in like, let's raise the roof. Let's give some applause if we're friends, and Robin shall restore amends, and just kind of like wake up. Everything's okay again.
Okay. And so Robin will restore amends. So when it says that, like the robin, like what?
No,
like the bird.
Puck was known as Robin Goodfellow in A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll hear him or her refer to himself as Robin Goodfellow.
Gotcha.
Robin, yeah, knavish sprite, stuff like that.
There we go. So out of context, yeah, I could see how like Robin would, which was cool to see, like the old, like, it looked like the Michael Keaton Batmobile right there. I know Nathan and I were like huge Batman animated series fans at the time and everything.
For sure.
So.
And it was a Warner Brothers show as well,
Yes,
right? So
exactly.
they were able to license those rights.
Oh, totally.
That's awesome.
I loved the Batman too.
Yeah. It's totally cool. I mean, the Robin right there there was no Robin in the Michael Keaton movies. But
right.
yeah, but of course he was in the animated series. And there was no Oprah mentions.
No, unfortunately.
In the Shakespearean one.
No Oprahs. I don't know why I have the strangest inkling that there is an Oprah character in Shakespeare.
Oh, maybe.
Or am I just thinking of Ophelia?
Oh, that's true. Like Oprah and Ophelia.
Now
Sure.
I have to go double check because I feel like I've heard Oprah before in Shakespeare.
We'll do that. We'll do a follow up right there.
But
Is
no,
Oprah in Shakespeare?
But this is before the O Network and all that. So who knows?
Who knows?
I don't know if he was watching.
Well, thank you very much, Jordan, for coming in. Our Shakespearean. This is a true translation to fill in the gaps that we had.
Well, I'm very touched.
So thank you. But before you go, Jordan, let's do a quick plug. You have a podcast yourself.
I do. It's called Jordan Asks What's News with You. It's a podcast where I sit down with someone new every 2 weeks and I ask them the same question. What's news with you?
Very cool. And it's so you get to hear all different types of topics of whatever's going on.
Oh, completely. I mean, you ask different people all the same question, you're going to get a ton of different answers. And so that's what's so exciting about it. And so far, Nathan's been on the show and I've had a few other close friends here and there. And I'm hoping to expand on that. So please check it out.
All right. So there you can check that out on iTunes and I'm sure various other podcatchers as well. So.
Yes. And I'm on Twitter at Jordan Asks WNWY as in What's News with You.
Very cool. Thank you very much, Jordan.
Oh, thanks.
Yay.
Oh, what fools these Warners be!
Okay, well, thank you very much for Jordan. Guys, what do you think about Midsummer Night's Dream?
Wow. Yeah, it was a fun little educational thing, so feel cultured. So.
And Kelly, what about you?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. When I first saw this episode, I hadn't read Midsummer Night's Dream or even seen a version of it, so I really didn't get all the references. But I have since read the story or play rather, and no, I enjoyed it. I liked. I love going back and rewatching episodes that I have more knowledge about the subject matter and can understand it on a different level. Because most kids watching this probably are like, what?
Yeah.
Kind of like the way I was. I knew the name of the play and knew it was Shakespeare, but I didn't know anything more about it, really.
Yeah, I didn't read Midsummer Night's Dream until high school, and it's definitely my favorite Shakespeare play because it's a simple enough plot for me to understand, and there are some funny moments in it right there.
I didn't read it until college, but I read Hamlet about 6 times because I was an English major. So every class I was in, it's like, let's read Hamlet. Oh, Okay, well, good that I like it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But that's all anyone ever wanted to teach.
Oh, great, yeah. Well, we should mention one more reference right there that I don't think we had Jordan talk about, which was, oh, what fools these Warners be, is even a reference to a line earlier in Midsummer Night's Dream with, Lord, what fools these mortals be.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was a good animation again. I like the hello pixie thing. So, very cute. And yeah, it felt cultured at the end.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and get straight over to our water tower rating. All right, Nathan, what do you think? Out of 5 water towers, how many water towers would you give this episode?
Oh boy. Okay. I'm gonna go with 3.5. I think it's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
I just really enjoyed that. I enjoyed all the segments in it. So I'll go 4. I'm gonna go 4. I'm changing my. There we go. I enjoyed them all. So
all right. And Kelly, what about you?
I'm gonna go with 3.5.
Okay.
I liked both or all the segments, but I didn't love any of them.
Okay. And I'm gonna go. I'm gonna agree with Nathan. I'm gonna go with a 4. I like this a lot. Yeah, I like this cartoons a lot, and even the Rita and Runt. I gotta say, the older I am, the more I appreciate Rita and Runt. I did not like Rita and Runt that much as a kid, but I guess that's why one of the reasons they put them in, because this is Rita and Runt are perhaps more for the adults, perhaps just because they're slower paced, I guess, in some ways. Like the song slows down the pace a lot in these cartoons. And if you're not into hearing Bernadette Peters sing, I could see how boring.
How could you not be?
I'm just saying.
I grew up with Annie, and I love that movie so much. And when I saw she was in Animaniacs, I'm like, oh, it's the lady from Annie.
For me, as a kid, I'm just saying in general for kids. I'm not saying for me. I'm just saying in general. I could see why some kids would think, it slows it down. Now,
It's like why they took that song out of the middle of the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Exactly.
It still kills me.
It does. Yes. Anyway. Well, let's go ahead and get to our poll results from last week.
Hello there, it's your announcer with this week's ANIMANICAST poll. I am currently cleaning up the smoke damage to my house after an unsuccessful attempt to cook a frozen Thanksgiving turkey. From now on, I'm just making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. There's less risk of a fire that way. Oh, and now on to the poll. Listeners were asked, Original Funko has released figures. Now what piece of #Animaniacs merchandise do you want to see next? #AniManiCast poll. 16% said action figures. Ooh, hopefully with a kung fu grip. 37% said a new video game. Maybe one that'll work in my Commodore 64. But it was 47% of the people who said they would love to see more plush dolls. Something to hold at night to keep me company. Oh, that would be nice. So with that, that's the winner. And now it's off to the studio with this week's poll. Oh, such a mess. Yeesh.
Okay, so those were our poll results right there. And let's go ahead and talk about it. What do we think, guys? What Animaniacs merchandise would you like to see the most?
I voted for a video game.
Why video game, Nathan?
I don't know. I just get to play it, and I can play with friends that way, maybe, or at least play with myself and just there. Is it? I get to immerse myself into the experience of the Animaniacs.
Well, eventually Nathan and I are going to have to sit down and actually play some of these Animaniacs video games for some special episodes. and kind of discuss them. So we have, oh yes, Nathan just pulled out The Great Edgar Hunt on GameCube.
It's in my hand right now.
So we're going to have to play that one of these days. And of course, there's some Sega Genesis games and Super Nintendo as well. And maybe even if we're lucky enough, we might be able to find a Game Boy game or something like that too. Who knows? We'll keep our eyes open, ladies and gentlemen, but we'll look forward to that at some point. So, video game for Nathan. Kelly, what about you?
Plushie.
Why do you like plushies?
Well, I remember when Animaniacs was really popular. A friend of mine liked the show as well and really wanted a plush Yakko, a Yakko plush.
Uh-huh.
And so I bought one, but then I never ended up sending it to my friend because I was a horrible person. And then we sort of lost touch, and so I was stuck with this Yakko plush. And like, I was going to get rid of a bunch of stuff when I went away to college. And I don't know. I guess I gave it to somebody else or got rid of it. I don't know. But I don't have it anymore. And sometimes I think about that. I'm like, I wish I still had that Yakko plush because that would be really cool to have now.
Yeah.
So, and I've actually gone on eBay recently just to see if I could find any of the plushies of the Animaniacs. And when you can find them, they're ridiculously expensive.
Yeah. I know. I was lucky to find mine for like $8 at a used bookstore, which was crazy.
Oh.
Yeah, my some people ask me online, like, I want to get a plush doll, but I don't want to pay too much. What do I do? And my only theory is maybe if you go to cities that used to have a Warner Brothers store in town and check out some of the, Goodwill places and stuff like that, then I think your chances are a little higher. Perhaps. Now, the quality of what they look like, I don't know, but I think at least your chances are a little bit better. I'm going to go with, we're going to make it a split vote because I'm going to say action figure kind of stuff because I would love to see Yakko, Wakko, and Dot in kind of a 3 3/4 style so I can put them next to my Star Wars figures. Or maybe the 6-inch kind of scale so I can put them next to the 6-inch Black Series figures. Okay, so there you go. It's all good, but we do need something, I think, right? We need some more Animaniacs.
So get on it, investors.
Yes, stuff. We'll buy it all. Well, let's go ahead and get over to our poll question for this week. So we have just had our 4th Rita and Runt cartoon.
Whoa.
Oh, yes, already. So, of course, whenever we get to the 4th of one of these cartoons, we like to ask you, which of these is your favorite Rita and Runt cartoon? So, it's When Rita Met Runt, Les Miséranimals, The Cat and the Fiddle, or today's episode of Home on De-Nile. And if you don't believe that question, you're in denial.
Oh.
Jungle Cruise joke.
Jungle Cruise, yep, I was about to say that.
So, there you go. That is our question. Head on over to twitter.com/Animaniacast, or just simply search on Twitter for #AnimanicastPoll, and you should be able to find that poll and make your voice heard. Now let's go ahead and get over to contact information. Last week we started with Kelly, so I'm going to go over to Nathan this time. How do people get in contact with you? Say hi, Nathan.
Joey, I'm on Twitter.
Cool.
I'm a Django Fit. Django FT. That is moi.
Very cool. And Kelly, how about you?
I am also on Twitter at Yoda Princess, YODAPRNCSS. And you can email me at kelly@bigshinyrobot.com.
Very cool. And of course, if you want to get in contact with the Animanicast, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. We're also on email, good old-fashioned email, which is animanicast@retrozap.com. And speaking of retrozap.com, you can head on over to retrozap.com to see a full listing of a bunch of different great, fantastic podcasts that you should listen to, too. As well as lots of articles for your reading pleasure. Speaking of a RetroZap podcast network, you can actually subscribe to the RetroZap podcast feed, and then you will get every single RetroZap podcast delivered straight to your device. So cool, and it'll keep you busy for the week for all the different podcasts you can listen to. So there you go. And Nathan is Snapchatting me right now.
That's right, I'm on Snapchat too. I don't know my username.
All right. So there we go. So with that, we'll wrap it up for episode 25 of the Animanicast. And this is Joey saying good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds of the Animaniacs characters or any other Animaniacs-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Warner Brothers, Amblin Entertainment, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animanicast unless otherwise indicated.
We gotta get going.
No. Stick around. Hang out with us.
Cool. Yeah, we'll stay and hang around with us. With Alice Cooper.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy! We're not worthy! We're scum! We suck! We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Not bad behavior for humans.